Hey guys, Lisa Wright here, QHHD practitioner, and Betsy Perez, who is an amazing psychic medium, and many other things that hopefully she will explain to you her background. But before we go there, what I do want to tell you is that I have been meeting with Betsy and many other amazing psychics, and we have been getting a lot of good messages from the ETs and messages that I feel need to be shared. We get together every week, and it's really, truly amazing stuff that we talk about. And I really think that it's something so interesting that I wanted to bring it out to you guys as well, because I feel like it's information that needs to be shared, and that if we are all on the same page and we're all intending the same things and hearing the same things and creating the same reality, that we are going to have a better future. So that's kind of the idea behind these videos. So with further ado, I am going to let Betsy tell us about herself. She has a long, extensive background, and I prefer that she's the one that explains it to you. So Betsy, it's all yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Betsy Perez, and I've been on this journey of spirituality a really long time. I can think as far back as the age of 5. I come from a family that are very gifted. Everybody in my family, they were able to see spirits, and it was a very common thing. I thought everybody was able to do this. And it turns out that when I hit the age of 7, I noticed that the rest of my friends were not seeing the same things that I was. And I came to realize that many of them were not really seeing the same things that I was. So I pretty much didn't mention it, but I still continued with my family and believing and seeing, the presence of spirits. As I started getting a little bit older, I started evolving even further. Around the age of 12, I consider it a download. I immediately knew how to. It was either a download or it was probably remembering something from a past life. But I was immediately able to read the palm without even learning, and reading cards without even being taught. So it was like one day I got up, I felt drawn to a deck of cards. I started playing with them, and it's like each one had meaning to me. And ever since then, at the age of 12, I started reading, and I became a lot more aware of my abilities. And as I started going through high school, junior high and high school, I started acquiring other gifts, such as telekinesis, moving objects, which I thought was kind of cool. My brother, he would usually come in and ask his friends, "Oh, look at what my sister can do," and they always thought it was a trick. They thought it was a trick, like, "Oh, she's just doing this as a magic trick," but they didn't know that I was just doing this with my mind. And I continued evolving even through college with psychometry. When I would feel things, I was very aware of the energies. And so this was an ongoing process. As my vibration started rising, I started getting more and more gifts. And I did go to college. I have a molecular biology degree and a master's in IT. I even though I was doing jobs, the 3D jobs, I was still very much involved in my spirituality. And I was still doing my readings, meditations, and everything. I never got away from that. It was always a very important part of my life. And I started getting involved in more things. I became an ordained minister, and in a different church, which presently now I'm a pastor of Open Arms Spiritualist Church. And I also got very much involved in doing work with law enforcement and finding missing people, missing persons. And I also worked on a lot of cold cases, and I helped them acquire information on those different things. And they would also, what I really liked is that people would usually call me up and to do other things that I've never done before. And one man, I remember he came up to me, he goes, "Oh, I need for you to find a lost ship." And I was going like, wow, that's a new one. and then I told him, I said, well, I'm going to need a nautical map for that one. And I found the ship for him underneath the ocean. And so that was a pretty cool little job that they asked me to do. And so that was very cool. I was happy that I was able to help that person with, and he also verified it with sonar, that it was actually located there. So it was very good confirmation for me that I was giving him good information. And this truly started evolving. I'm the type of person that I pay attention to what I'm given. The universe is usually like driving me towards the areas where I'm supposed to go to. And it was really interesting because one day a friend of mine asked me to come to her medicine wheel. And when we went to her medicine wheel, I noticed that she had a vortex over her medicine wheel. And then I told her, I said, "Oh, that's really strange. You have a vortex over your medicine wheel. Well, why don't we go meditate and see what this is for?" And so when we went over there, immediately, I would probably say within 5 minutes, we had some ETs come down. They were two of them came down at that time. And one of the ones I'm really communicating with a lot, and he was an Arcturian, and his name is Arkham. And we continued communicating with Pleiadians, Arcturians, Sirians, a whole bunch of different ETs were coming down and communicating with us, and we were doing a lot of grid work. We were doing a lot of work with the energy, with the earth, and helping out with the energies. And they would also give us messages. And some of these ascended masters and some of these ETs I'm still communicating with. They still come through when during my transmissions. A lot of the ascended masters come through as well, such as Adama, such as Sananda, Sanat Kumara. Sometimes we have Mother Mary come through, sometimes Kuan Yin comes through, and it all depends on the situation. But I also have like ETs come through, such as Ashtar, who's very well known, and Ashtar, and Bahim Adora Kaur, he's from the Sirius V High Council, and Arkham comes through quite a bit, and giving his healings and his messages too as well. And so these are some of the ETs that I work very closely with, that sometimes we have some other ones that come through, depending on the situation, but they definitely do come through and give some beautiful messages. A lot of times I record them because it's one thing for me to be channeling this information, but I don't really remember a lot of it. So a lot of times I want to record it so I can participate in it as well. But it's such a beautiful process for me. And I love doing the transmissions because I feel so good afterwards, because it's not only a healing process for everybody that's participating within the transmission, but also for me as well. And so I enjoy doing it. So it's always a plus.
Wow. And that's a little bit of what you do too. I mean, there's so much more to everything that you do. I mean, you also do remote viewing.
Yes, I
Why
do.
don't you tell the story about the remote viewing that you did for somebody in a legal paper? I thought that was really interesting. That they were saying, look for things that might get me in trouble or something like that. And
Oh, absolutely. It was really funny because somebody came to me for a reading and they were saying like, oh, well, have you ever remote viewed a legal document? And I said, no, I never have. And that's what I always like, because my clients always push the envelope. And to me, it's almost like showing me like, hey, you can do this, but you haven't tried it yet. And so I said, well, let me try it and see. I said, I've never done that before, but let me see. So then I went ahead and remote viewed his legal document. And then immediately it started highlighting some areas on the document, and it would tell me the page number and everything. So I went ahead and told the client, you need to go check with your legal person and see whether or not these areas right here where they're showing me, and I was telling them page numbers, the paragraph and everything, and I said these areas right here are not to your benefit. If they switch it, it could either be a word or a sentence. If they switch it, it'll be more beneficial to you. So then when the person went to his legal guy, he was saying like, oh, he goes, oops, I should have changed the word in that sentence. And, it's almost kind of like I caught some areas in there that weren't to his benefit. And when he went back, he was saying like, oh yes, these are like areas that need to be changed. And so that was that story. And so, yeah, I do things like that. I scan, remote view scan, whichever one you want to call it, to see whether or not there are areas that are non-beneficial to the person who this is dealing with. And so, yes, I do that.
the other amazing thing that you do is you're also a medical medium.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because I remember when I first started healing, when I first started doing the healing work, I used to see a lot of things in black and white. Black and white, it would show me like a black little area on the person. And for me, that was kind of like an indicator that there was a problem there. But as I started doing healing work, as I continued doing healing work, things started evolving. And it started evolving to the point where I could see inside somebody's body, like let's say, for example, a person was having an MRI done on them. Total color, it's in color, and I could look inside somebody's body and see, if everything was okay. I could find tumors and all kinds of different things, on a person. And I remember one time I was doing a reading for a client, and I looked and I was going like, ooh, she has a tumor on her pituitary. And then I immediately told her, I said, hey, well, this is actually a person who I was really close to. So I felt comfortable telling her what I was seeing. And I was saying, I'm seeing that you have a tumor on your pituitary. I said, I feel you need to go get this checked out, with your doctor. And I said, will he do a scan on you to verify, that you have this tumor? And she goes like, oh yeah, I get along really good with my doctor. I'm pretty sure, that he'll order a scan for me to verify that. So she went to her doctor, and the doctor, which it really made me laugh, because she went over there and she said like, oh, my friend, she goes, my friend told me that I have a tumor on my pituitary. Can you please do me a scan? And I was like really surprised that she said that. that she said it that way. And then I was going like, whoa. And I was going, well, was he open to that? And he goes like, yeah, he went ahead and ordered the scan. And when they ordered the scan, she had a tumor on her pituitary. And I have, and the reason is that when I look into the organ, immediately it will take me to where the problems are in the body. If there is a problem in a certain body, it'll immediately gravitate, it'll bring that focus to that part of the body. and it'll say like, hey, look here. And then once it takes me to the general area, yeah, I'll usually say, give me more information. And then it zooms in to the area that has the problem. And it could be a lesion, it could be a blockage, it could be any any type of situation that might be going on there. It's even come to the point that since I have a biology degree, I know all about the organs and everything, but as far as let's say, for example, that person has something that I've never seen before, that's where I go and I start researching and looking in the medical journals and things like that, so that the next time I run into something like that, I'll say like, oh, look, this is what I'm looking at, because I'm a very visual person. The things that I see are visual. And I also feel, because a lot of times when people have medical issues, there's sometimes an emotional aspect to it as well. There's an emotional aspect to it as well. And then sometimes there might be a blockage, or there might be some energetic deficiency that's happening there. And then that's where I start looking at why there's an energetic deficiency. And it could be like several different reasons why. And so that's where I go on my little searching mission to see to see what's causing this, and if it's something that I can help the person energetically with, I will. And I find it fascinating because to me, I'm a very to me research is very exciting to me, and that's why I liked it when I was working with law enforcement, and doing research, within the body and trying to find things is very fascinating to me. So it's fun.
Well, it sounds like it's a lot of fun to be able to help people with, kind of like what I call superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I wanted to do, because I think it's something that we're going to be talking about in the future, is kind of talk about each of the ETs that come to help us and give us downloads. And I'll also probably show some pictures as we're talking of the visits that we had in my home, during the
absolutely. That's
meditation.
been fascinating when they manifest themselves in one of our sessions. I know, it's very cool. So I can actually give you some of those pictures so that we can see them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if you can just go down each ET and let's say, okay, so Ashtar, he's whatever. Like, I know Arkham is an Arcturian, but I don't remember about Ashtar. So we can go through like each one and just kind of tell us where they're from and what they look like. I know that I think, is it Ashtar that's really good looking?
Oh yeah, Ashtar is like very good looking. That's what I was, he was kind of laughing. Well, he wasn't laughing, he was like smiling, because I was, with the last time I spoke to him, I was telling him, I said, oh, can I do a drawing of you? And then he was smiling like, like, yeah, it's fine. But, he didn't, it was funny. Like, he was thinking it was kind of funny, that I wanted to do a drawing of him. And but he didn't have any objections to that, so I'm going to be doing a drawing. But yes, he is very attractive.
And where is he? And you said Ashtar is from where?
He's from the Ashtar is actually, I believe he's like a Pleiadian. He's a Pleiadian, and he's from the Ashtar Command. And he's from the Galactic Federation of Light. Okay. And it's funny because he usually comes through and he goes, oh, my name is Ashtar, and he says that he's from the Galactic Federation of Light. And so that's where he's from. And I started speaking to him almost like maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he actually came through on some of our transmissions when I was with a group of women. that was called Sikanka. And we were communicating, and they were coming through. He was coming through, and that's where I first met him. And then when I started doing transmissions with another group, he started coming through in our transmissions as well. And so did Arkham, who's an Arcturian. And he's actually been communicating with me pretty close to 4 years, and so he's been with me quite some time, and I feel very comfortable with him. He's very helpful with anyone that's wanting to do energy healings, and has been very helpful with that. So he's like one of the first ones I started working with. So I feel very, very drawn to him, and he's an Arcturian. And the other one, Bahima Dorakor, he's High Council from Sirius B. It was very interesting because I remember the first time I met him was even way before I started doing communications, transmissions with the group. I would probably say I met him almost like 6 years ago. And it was a friend of mine who was in Sedona, and he was connecting to one of the vortexes, and he was telling me, he goes, oh, why don't you, it was the Kachina woman vortex. That's the one that he was connecting to. And then we connected to the Kachina woman vortex. And when we connected, immediately he came out, Bahima Dorakor came out, and so did, he was with another Syrian, and her name was Ramita Noor. And she comes up every once in a while, but I feel Bahima Dorakor is the one that most of the time comes and speaks. But both of them came out at that particular time, and they started speaking with us, and they were also doing activations and all those really cool things. And so I've been speaking to them quite some time, and so yeah, it's a very cool relationship.
What do you think is the difference between them? Like, because I know they have like different messages. So what do you think?
I would definitely say that like, for example, Ashtar, when he comes up, he's all about, he starts telling us about what's going on, not only in the world, but he's also telling us what's going on in the Milky Way galaxy. And if there's like any anomalies, or if anything is going on, it's almost like it's funny because he comes through and he says, oh, I'm coming in to give the report, of what is going on in the world, either on planet Earth or what's going on within the galaxy. And so it's very, very, very interesting. And as far as Bahima Dorakor, he's all about security. It's like if something is going on, he'll let us know. He's also if you're working with him, he's also the Syrians are very protective. They're protective. If they feel like they need to protect you for a certain reason, they'll come and protect. And but they're all about security, and so they'll tell you if there's something going on, that involves anything associated with security. And so that's what I believe, that most of the time he comes through with. And if there's anything that might cause concern, that we might be concerned about, something happening on Earth, well then he'll clarify some things associated with that.
Okay. And then I think Arkham. What about Arkham?
Oh, Arkham, he's Arcturians are known very much for healing. And I know that a lot of times when I'm doing some of my healing work, sometimes he might come through and he might put in, some of the healing energy. Sometimes he'll actually take people, even people from our group, he'll take them up on the ship and he'll work with them. Sometimes he'll work with activations. Sometimes he'll come through with messages of you know, what you need to do, you know, as far as the ascension process. So he's very helpful in that particular issue. Like if you're wanting to ascend, he'll do everything to help you to ascend into those higher levels, or tell you what you need to do or what you're not doing, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and how the energies are right now, how they're going to be affecting you. So he's very good about those type of things. And he's very helpful. He participates a lot in during our transmissions. He's one of the ones that we actually took a picture of, remember?
Yeah.
He was actually present in one of our transmissions. And so he's very, very, very helpful. Arkham is.
Okay. All right. So I know that we had a transmission not long ago from 4 of them. I remember it was Ashtar, Arkham, Bahima Dorakora, and I can't remember who the 4th one was. Do you remember by any chance?
It might have been Adama, and he's Lemurian, and a lot of people know him from over by Mount Shasta and in Telos, that because that's where they say that he lives. But yes, Adama comes through, and he's really, really, really helpful. He comes, I would probably say he comes through very, very, very often in our transmissions, and he comes through with some beautiful, beautiful messages, very heart-centered, very heart-based, and sometimes, you know, he comes through and he not only comes through with the messages, but he also comes through to help elevate those, you know, whoever is present in the transmission, to help elevate them. And he also does activations as well. And so, you know, he helps a lot with those type of things. So yes. He's another one that I've been speaking to for quite some time, probably about like 3 years.
And so what I've noticed is that we have a lot of benevolent ETs working with us. And what do you think? I mean, what do you think they're trying to at least achieve with our group?
With our group, they're trying to help elevate us to a point where, you know, we can help, where we can be able to transmit this light, where we can kind of be a almost kind of like a transponder, you know, where we're emitting this light. And when we're emitting the light, we're only changing, help the other people around us change as well, you know, to elevate us, even our families, our neighbors, because a lot of the people have made a commitment to support the grid, you know, the grid here on Earth. And when they're supporting the grid, their light is being emitted hundreds and hundreds of miles, you know, and a lot of people go like, wow, is that really true? Yes. And that is the reason why, you know, when they're working with us, they're helping us expand. And I remember there was like, I don't know if you remember, Lisa, there was one transmission where he gave us a symbol, and that symbol was a symbol for elevation and expansion. And everyone, and I remember I made like a little symbol for everyone. And everyone was using it in a different way. Oh, they either had it next to their bed or next to their computer, and they could feel the energy of the actual symbol, you know, because it's not only elevating you, you're also expanding outward, which is very important. You know, because people are always saying, oh, I want to elevate. I want to ascend. Well, what about the expansion? You need to expand yourself. And if you're expanding that energy, you're affecting all those people that are in your energetic field. And these people will awaken whether they want to or not. The choice is whether they want to move forward in that direction. But our job is to provide that energy to awaken them. And that is some of the things that we came into this world to do, to help the elevation of those people around you. And you never know. Like, let's say, for example, you go somewhere and you're talking to certain people. You don't know how you're going to affect that particular person by the energy that you are emitting. And so that is a very important thing, because you're moving with this energy. You're moving with this energy, and what you're emitting is going to be creating a lot of changes to people around you. And I feel like that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful gift. That's probably like one of them. And the beauty of it is that each one of us have different things that they need to be doing. Some people are going to be supporting the grid. Some other people are going to help with elevation. Some other people it all depends on what their mission is. But the beauty of it is that whatever you're doing, you're helping. You're helping in creating change. And that's what needs to happen. For people to awaken and change, and also to be led from the heart. It's kind of like what Arkham was saying. It's kind of like all the ETs say this. We need to be of heart-based. It's kind of like our awareness does not need to be up here. It needs to be in your heart. And that's where you have to work from. You have to work from your heart, because that is where you're going to be manifesting your reality. And if you're from that place, it's kind of like you're going to be in a higher frequency. Things are going to be spontaneous manifesting is going to start happening. And you're going to go like, oh, wow, I was just thinking about that. And all of a sudden I hear it on the radio. Or, oh, look, I was just thinking about that and I just see it over here, And so that's what spontaneous manifestation is going to be happening. And that is like confirmation that you are in the right place, that you are coming from the heart. And so that's what is very important.
Wow. Yeah. And it's really, truly, amazing to have these ETs working with us and helping us ascend and helping us be the light. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing these videos, so that we can get the word out and get more and more and more people to do the same. And like you say, shine your light as bright as you can, and be out there to help people wake up, because there's going to be a lot of people waking up, and we have to be there to support them and give them guidance.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what the ETs are doing with us, right? They're supporting guidance to us so that we can provide guidance to those that are going to be coming and waking up here pretty soon. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you think they would like for us to share with everyone?
I would probably say the most important thing is for them to, for everyone to be from their heart center, and for everyone to connect. Because so many people right now are disconnected. They're disconnected, and the reason that they're disconnected, and that's what we usually call 3D, if they're in 3D, and for example, they need to not really be paying too much attention to things that are of low vibration, such as, watching the news. A lot of the news nowadays contains a lot of negative things. And those are things
that's on purpose too.
Exactly. And it's programming. It's just like negative programming. And the thing is that everyone should remain in a positive place. Anything that's going to be bringing them down, making them depressed, go into that negative space, you do not need to be in those spaces. Be selective about what you're watching. Watch funny movies. Watch things that are spiritual. Watch uplifting things. Don't do anything that's going to lower your vibration. Don't do anything that's going to make you upset. Another thing too is watch very closely what you're putting into your body, especially the types of foods. Alcohol is not a very good thing. It lowers your vibration. If you could abstain from alcohol, that would be the best thing to do. You need to put positive things into your body. And so that is a very important thing for everyone to do. Watch what you are putting into your body. They should all be positive things. Anything that has preservatives, anything that's not natural is not a good thing to put. I would this was one thing that one of the ETs was also telling me to do as well. To when you are getting ready to eat, infuse not only your water, but infuse your food with energy, because a lot of things are void of really positive energy. They're depleted. So infuse your water. You can infuse it with some type of intent, or to either purification of the body, whatever you want to do with it, but infuse your water with intent. And also infuse your whatever you're eating with light, and so that it can be nutritional when it's going into your body. It can be absorbed in a more efficient way, and it'll also bring that light into your body as well. And so that was another thing that they were talking about as well. So I wanted to.
So when you say infuse it with light, meaning like imagine that as the water's going through you, that it's light, or like what? Give us an example of what you would do to.
Well, what you would do is you would hold the glass. You would hold the glass of water. You would hold it, and you're envisioning that there is that you're seeing this energy coming through your body, and it's entering in from your hands, and it's going into the glass of water.
Okay.
If you want to put some type of intent in there, like intent for light, intent for health, intent for elevation, whatever intent you want to put in there, you can do that. And what happens is, everything in the multidimensional universe, it all involves intent. It's all energy. Everything is energy. And so if you're putting that frequency, that light into the water, it's going to change the properties of that water. If you remember how Emoto in the pictures, if you would send an intent of anger, it would change its molecular structure. And so by you doing that, it's going to be changing the properties of the actual water. And so you're going to actually restructure the water. And that's a very positive thing to do. And as far as the same process, you would do it with your food. Like, for example, you have your plate of food. Put your hands over the food and send the energy into the food. And if you want to put intent in there, you can put intent in there too. But infuse the food with this energy as well. And then once you consume it, it's gonna have something positive in there. And so that's a very important thing to do.
When you do that, Betsy, let's say a lot of people, use the excuse that organics are too expensive, and so they don't buy, food that's organic. I know I've heard that it is possible to take that food that is not organic and put intention on it that it is organic, and that it's like the pesticides are not there anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can actually do something invoking the sovereignty. Like, let's say, for example, you're eating something and you know that it's not organic. You know that it will probably have pesticides in it. You can invoke the sovereignty, and you were saying, I am sovereign to any type of negative, any chemicals in here that might be present. I am sovereign to anything that's in there that you feel is not to your best and highest good, that it is not going to be present there, that only positive things. You can also do this with EMF. You can all, you know, a lot of people were concerned about the cell phones, you know, because they were you know, planning on doing the
5G.
5G.
Yeah.
The 5G. A lot of people were concerned about that, and I remember I was asking asking Arkham about it, and he was pretty much saying, you know, that if you would invoke that sovereignty, you know, then it wouldn't really says I'm sovereign to the 5G waves. Affected me in a negative way, you know, and so it would affect your reality in a positive way, you know, once you invoke this sovereignty. And so he said that if you would do that, everything would be fine. And so you can use this. You have the ability to use this in anything that you want to. You know, it's almost kind of like us saying we have the free will, you know, to change anything in our reality that we would like that's not to our benefit. And you can do this with food. You can do this with EMF. You can do this with anything. You could actually do this with negative relationships. And yeah, like if there's a non-beneficial aspect there, you can do that as well. And so anything that is affecting you in a negative way, you can invoke this to change it to a beneficial way. So yeah, it's multi-purpose.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, absolutely. That can be used pretty much every day for almost anything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's pretty
Absolutely.
awesome. That's pretty awesome.
I usually say that that in order to allow things to really flow the way that you want them to, it's kind of like manifest that. You know, like when you first wake up in the morning, you know, manifest the ideal day that you would like it to be. Like you're at work, everything is working fine. You know, you're not going to have any issues. No problems. Everything is going to work out the way that you want it to, and that's the way that you want it to be. And so you can do this every day, manifesting your reality, because that's what we do. And after a while, if you're in that heart-centered space, it's kind of like it's just going to flow and remain in that really good place. And when you start seeing that your day is kind of like going askew, you have to ask yourself, am I still in that heart-centered space? And then oftentimes you're not. You're going like, whoops, okay, let me go there. and that's why you, but yeah, when you start manifesting, it's fun. It's fun, you know, because it starts getting even more and more exciting, the things that start happening. It's like one day I remember I was driving to church, and I was going like, oh, I'm probably going to run into that traffic. I'm probably going to run into that really big traffic, you know, that they have around that time of day. And when I got to the stoplight, I saw the cars going by, and I said like, okay. And then so I turned, and I was driving, and all of a sudden, I let this one car, I said, oh, I'm going to let him go by. And I looked over, and all of a sudden I looked, and there were no cars anywhere. No cars anywhere. It's like that car disappeared, and I was the only car on the high, you know, on the road. You know, I was the only one there, and I was going like, oh wow, this is cool. And I kept on driving, and there were no cars anywhere. It was really crazy. But that is the whole thing. It's almost kind of like you automatically, I believe what happened at that point in time is that I jumped into an alternate reality.
Right.
You know, it's a parallel reality. That's what I did. And I pretty much manifested that. But it was cool because in that reality, I had no traffic. And so I got there, and I was absolutely fine, you know, and it was cool. And there have been other times as well that I'm driving, and all of a sudden I will get to wherever I want to go in less time. And so there was one time I remember I was driving home, and it usually takes about 15 minutes for me to get home. And when I first came out of the location where I was at, I saw that oh, okay, it's, you know, I was taking the same turn that I normally go to, and all of a sudden I look, and I'm at the next stoplight, like a stoplight before I get home, which is like 5 minutes away. And then I go like, how in the world? How in the world did I cut off like 10 minutes. 10 minutes off of my drive. And I was going like, how did I get from here to here? I was going like, that was just like really crazy. But it was cool though at the same time. And so I got there, and everything was fine. And so that was cool.
Oh my God, that's pretty awesome. If I can do that on my way to work and back, which is like an hour away.
No, I've heard some stories of some people that they've cut off like 2 hours. There was like this guy that I was talking to one time, and he told me that he was coming from, I believe he was coming from Gainesville. And he spoke to his wife, and he says, oh, you know, I'm just getting out of Gainesville. You know, it's going to take me a little while before I get over there. And his wife said, okay. So then all of a sudden, right after he spoke to his wife, he drives for a little while, I'd probably say maybe like for half an hour. And then when he looks, then he sees a sign, and it says, because he lived in Sarasota. And then when he got to, then he saw the sign for Sarasota, and he was going like, what? I'm over here in Sarasota already? He goes, that can't be. And then all of a sudden he drives home, and his wife says, what are you doing here? And she was like surprised because he had called her from Gainesville, and all of a sudden he was in Sarasota. So he cut time. And to me, I kind of like feel like he either went into some type of time rip or who knows, some quantum shift. But I have heard many, many, many stories like that. And it's very, very crazy when that happens. I mean, it's good for the person that's driving, but, you know, it's really interesting. You know, I hear more and more of these stories of these anomalies happening, and it's probably maybe they're manifesting this. You know, they're doing like a quantum shift where they're already at that particular location.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know what? That's so awesome to hear. I love hearing those stories, right? Because it kind of makes us believers, and then we kind of try to achieve that. And I know I've been able to, while I'm on traffic, if there's like a lot of traffic in front of me, I literally stop and I look, like you said, in the heart, and I go, okay, I'm not in a good mood. Somehow I didn't realize I am not in a good mood. The traffic tells me how I'm feeling, basically. So quite often I judge the traffic, and I go, okay, I need to look inside to see why is this my reality right now? And I have been able to turn it around where I am not kidding. I'll be on these lanes of traffic, and the cars will start getting off of my way. Like, just like in Bruce Almighty, when all the cars, like, he parted all the cars out and he went through, just like that. I've been able to do that. So really, it's truly a virtual reality game that we're living in. And it's
absolutely.
It's pretty
absolutely cool. And it makes it very very, very, very interesting, and we need to start realizing, you know, that we can.
Oh no, I lost your there we go.
That we can totally switch realities.
Yes.
And we can more or less kind of like control what's happening around us. And we can switch into the best place where we're supposed to be. And it really makes me laugh because I'm a big fan of the Marvel comics, and my favorite cartoon character was Dr. Strange. And in the last movie that they did, he was kind of like going into all these different probabilities, going, And you know what? In reality, we can actually do that. You know, if you start getting really, really, really good, we can like switch into the best reality that we would like to be in. And that's what as you start being in that heart-centered space, that's where you're going to be able to do that. You know, tap into the best reality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty fun. So we are probably running out of time. So
Okay.
I wanted to just thank you so much again for your time.
Welcome. You're
I
welcome.
always love talking to you. And I wanted to just let everybody know that we're going to be doing this more often. And we are going to be talking about all kinds of things, you know, what happens during our weekend meditations. We're going to be talking about
what kind of messages.
the messages that we get, because we want to make sure that that is being sent out, that people are getting the message, that it's not only us. And so that's why, you know, I want to have these. We're also going to be talking about mysteries. Betsy and I love the mysteries, and so we're going to be talking about, you know, anything from the pyramids to you know, missing ships and whatever else comes our way, just trying to make things interesting and fun. And if you guys have any ideas, just go ahead and comment.
And it'll also list all the different things that I do in case I happen to miss something.
Okay. And I'll make sure that I put it on in writing underneath our you know, on the video. So I'll put that on there. And with me, you already know, healingthepasttherapy.com. And again, everyone, have a wonderful rest of the day, and looking forward to seeing your messages, and looking forward to sending you messages as well. And namaste. Thanks, Betsy.
Okay. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.